enough respect?
Well, look, I'm not surprised A.J. Brown. He's, I think, giving a little bit of love to George Pickens, a fellow receiver who has, like A.J., been accused of being diva-like and all that stuff. So I think that may be part of this, and I'm fine with that. But no, we're not sleeping on that. They won 7 games last year.
Yeah, but 7 games with an injured quarterback.
But when they were healthy with Micah and Dak, they still were getting hammered at home. So they got a rookie coach who's been in the league for decades and is, an heir to, of a great coach and still never has been hired until now. And I hear all this talk about him changing the culture, which would be great. But is Jerry not going to be around? Jerry's the culture. You're not about to step in there as kind of a nondescript head coach and change the culture as long as Jerry's there. Yeah, okay, that's nice. All right, George, I agree with AJ and disagree with Nick. George Pickens, I think, is wildly talented. I think their receiving room is great as on paper. But you can't tell me in a contract year, if George Pickens isn't getting the catches, the targets that he thinks he should get to get paid next year, that he's going to be good with it all? He already got CD saying, I'm not the number one. We just both number ones. I mean, that's a change of culture for you. So, no, I just think, too, Nick, their division, I think they're the third best team, clearly, behind Washington and Philly. And for them to make the playoffs as the third team, with the NFC North being what it is, that's going to be tough.
So I just don't – you guys know I have been on this show far and away the highest on the Cowboys over the last few years. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, one of the years they won 12 games. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
2 years ago.
I think they are getting the exact right amount of respect. I don't think they're disrespected. I don't love the overall construct of the team in that I don't know how they're going to get stops in the passing game other than Micah Parsons wreaking massive havoc. I do think that Micah is going to have to actually have the Defensive Player of the Year winning season, not just in the discussion season, in order for them to have a passable pass defense. They have struggled against the run for years because they have missed on those draft picks. And I have to be fair with how I analyze teams that I think make major upgrades at the head coaching position and why I think that in and of itself can be worth 3 or 4 wins. I have a healthy skepticism of Brian Schottenheimer as a first-time head coach at his age with his profile. And while I did not like Mike McCarthy as my head coach of a team that was trying to win a championship because of his game management and playoff issues, he obviously is a solid, more than solid, overall head coach. So I think they probably got worse in that regard. And I think while the middle part of their schedule, if we throw it up, you would think they can make some hay. It feels to me like it's a 1-3 start, and then that entire right-hand column, it really starts week 12 against the Eagles and then down. I just think it's a brutal finish. So I think 7 or 8 wins, which is what they're projected to get, is exactly right. So I think we are giving Dallas enough respect.
Yeah. I'm not going to say I agree with all the reasons why Nick is saying it, but I think they are getting the appropriate level of respect because do you think that they should be favored over the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2 reigning NFC championship teams? The Eagles literally just won a Super Bowl. You're not going to put them ahead of them. And the Commanders, Jaden Daniels just had the greatest rookie season of all time and led his team to the NFC championship game, and their team got better. And you're not going to say, oh, well, the Cowboys, Dak Prescott injured. So if Dak Prescott didn't get injured, they were going to go to the NFC Championship game, not the Commanders. They would have gone to the NFC Championship game, the Cowboys, for the first time in 30 years. And the only reason why they didn't was because Dak Prescott injured. When he got injured, as they were getting absolutely annihilated against the Atlanta Falcons, the team that didn't even make it to the playoffs. Like in typical Cowboys fashion, that game, You know, it was only 21-27 when it was like the Cowboys couldn't do anything. Dak Prescott was 18 for 24, the 133 yards, 5.5 yards per attempt, but he had a 101 rating. And Kirk Cousins, who just feasted, 19 for 24, 222 yards, 9 yards per average per attempt, 3 touchdowns, a 144.8 rating. They were able to run all day. The Cowboys, that game, they did something weird. They were trying to go for it on, like, they did like a fake punt or something. I can't remember. They did a bunch of weird stuff that game. It's too long ago to even really remember just how bad of a game that really was for them, right? They were 1 for 5 on 4th down, 3 for 13 on 3rd down. I mean, it was such an uglier game than it even remotely looks like. Penalties galore, 9 for 55. Yeah, I think this team will be better than they were last year. But I mean, you think the Cowboys and the Commanders, or excuse me, the Eagles and the Commanders are just falling off this cliff here? Like you could even see to win the NFC, it's, you know, minus 135 for the Eagles makes sense, plus 205 for Washington, and then plus 600 for Dallas, plus 2,500. I could understand if Dallas Cowboys were like plus 2,000, right? It had them closer to the Giants than they are to the Commanders and the Eagles. Then I could understand. They're not getting enough respect. This is still the Cowboys. You got Dak, you got CD, you got Micah, you got Pickens now, etc., etc. But you have a new head coach. You have a new wide receiver. Like, you know, your quarterback is coming off of his, like, he's had a bunch of injuries now at this point, but he's coming off a pretty big injury. Like, what are you expecting the prediction to be for the Cowboys? That they win 11 games, 12 games? Like, that just doesn't make sense. All of the first place teams in the NFL are favored to win. Their plus and minus is like 11.5 or something. 11.5. So it's just like the Cowboys, you're not going to put them right there with that. You're not going to put them there with the Bills, with the Ravens, with the Eagles, with the Chiefs. How would that make sense? That would make no sense. None. 0. So you have to bake in that they're less than that. So then, okay, so that's going to be now 10 or 9. And that would be if you had the continuity of the same coach. But now you have a new coach that is completely unknown. So now you have to subtract another win or two. Like, so that's how you get to this, like, 7, 8, 9 range. It makes perfect sense. Makes 100% sense. Quarterback coming off an injury. New head coach. First time head coach. Like, it just makes complete sense. Complete sense. And it's up to the Cowboys to prove that people are underestimating them. They don't earn that right. So, you know, because if you're not getting enough respect, then it's almost implied that you're being disrespected. And it's just not the case. You know, it's up to the Cowboys to kind of hit the ground running and not be 1-3, but be, you know, 2-1. Beat the Giants and the Bears, right? Maybe you lose to the Packers, but then you immediately beat the Jets, the Panthers, and then you do beat the Commanders. You're at home. Divisional game. Okay, you know, lose to the Broncos, beat the Cardinals. Beat the Raiders. You split with the Eagles. Then you can lose to the Chiefs, maybe lose to the Lions, then you beat the Vikings. Right? Like, and then again, before you know it, you're now a team that's right there to win, you know, to get a wild card spot. And unless the Commanders and the Eagles really kind of, you know, slip up, maybe it's a 3-way race to win the division. But it's just like it's up to the Cowboys to make that. Like, they're not owed that respect. There's nothing in their history to believe that they're owed that respect by any of the stretch of the imagination. But the Commanders and the Eagles are certainly owed that. The Packers are owed that. The Chiefs are owed that. The Lions are owed that. The Chargers, the Vikings, like all the teams that they're playing are owed that. Not the Giants, not the Jets, not the Panthers, not the Cardinals, not the Raiders. Broncos, coin flip. because it is also, you know, second-year starter quarterback with Sean Payton. Had a good season. You can make the same argument for the Commanders, but I think the Commanders were definitely better than the Broncos last season. So, yeah. I'm actually excited to see how this team unfolds for the Dallas Cowboys. I actually really am. I'm so much more interested in the Cowboys this season than I would have been, especially if Pickens wasn't there. I'm rooting for Dak to make like a full recovery and look like the injury never happened. You know, again, he is getting older. He has had a lot of these lower body injuries, but, you know, just the human side of me, it's like I want to see him still be healthy, still be strong, not have that be kind of like a limitation. I don't ever want to watch someone play and just like, he just doesn't look the same since the injury. Hate to see that as someone who's already, you know, me personally have had a lot of injuries throughout my life. So, you know, I'm rooting for that to not be an aspect, but it certainly can be, because not only did he get injured, he needed to recover, he needed to get surgery and all of that, but like he also then missed time. So it's like, it's not hard to imagine that he's even going to be a little bit extra rusty in those first, you know, 3-4 weeks or so. We've seen that time and time again. Not entirely sure his recovery process and how much he kind of missed in terms of what his normal preparation would be. But we know he always has some of these lingering issues. Like, I think it wasn't it last season, like last off season going into this past season, he was like wearing a boot because he was like, oh, my foot swells when I go on the boat or something. And was like, you know, like, so he's getting older. He's getting more banged up. It's a real thing to look out for. But, you know, hopefully it's a non-factor, but, you know, you honestly, you don't know until you do. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? Do you think they're getting enough respect? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.